So the front is going to be worked similar to the back, but with less repeats for the center and more repeats for the shoulders. Now these markers, the ones that were shown me 6 cells away from the side seam marker, move it to the front. So I'm gonna count 2, 4, 6. 6 cells away from the side seam marker, and I'm gonna mark this stitch. The same thing for the other side. So 2, 2, 4, 6. I'm gonna mark this stitch here. All right, and I'm ready to start the work. So I'm gonna be working from marker to marker, 2 pattern repeats. That means 12 rows, and working exactly like we worked here with rounding for the armhole. I'll show you again. You don't have to go back into the video and look for where it is, this section. I'm gonna start the same way I did for the back. I'm gonna join the thread. You already know how to do that. Everyone has their own methods, their own ways. I'm gonna remove the marker just to insert the hook here. So to start my work, holding the tail, I'm gonna start working the cluster row, the clusters, with a single crochet into this stitch. How I know which one I start with, either the cluster or the single crochet, I look at the popcorns of the previous pattern repeat. So if this thing is a popcorn and I have to start on this line of popcorns, then I will start with a single crochet, obviously, and then I'll keep going in pattern. Chain 3, and your cluster, skip the 2 cells, 3 double crochet cluster into the double crochet immediately following the 2 skipped cells. I feel like I'm repeating myself too much. And continue like that till you reach your second marker. I got to my last repeat, so I have to work up to this marker because this is the side seam marker. So this one I'll leave on, but this one I'll take out after I'm done with my last repeat. And as usual, because we are rounding up at the armhole, I need to end up at the top of the cluster. So I'm gonna work an elongated double crochet here. Why I say elongated double crochet and not a treble? Because when you work a treble, it seems like it's a little bit longer than an elongated double crochet. It could be just my perception, but that's how I see it, and I prefer to work an elongated double crochet like this. And you can remove this marker. You don't need it here anymore. There's only the side seam marker left. We're gonna use it later. Now, chain 1 and turn your work. Now this is the row with the chain 6 spaces. So let's work a single crochet onto the cluster and a single crochet into the first space. Chain 6, okay, and continue in pattern till the end, till the last chain 6 space. I'm at my last chain 6 space and I need to end on top of that chain 6 space. So chain 3 and elongated double crochet into the cluster stitch. Perfect. So this is all the rounding for the armhole in the front. Now from now on we're gonna work the next rows with straight edges. So chain 1, turn, single crochet into this stitch, this is the middle single crochet of the 7, so 3 more single crochets into the space and continue in pattern till the end of this row. I have to work the single crochet on the last chain 6 space, and I'm gonna work the single crochets to the middle of this space because I need this rounded edge. So I'm gonna work only 4 single crochets here. That's my 4th single crochet. Now look, we have the same thing at the front. So if you're not sure of something, you can always check to have a symmetry with what you have in the beginning, to be the same as what you need to have at the end of the row. All right, chain 1 and turn. Next row is the popcorn row, and again, the popcorn row here is on the wrong side, so you have to work it the special way, the way I showed you. So we start with a single crochet into the first stitch, chain 3, popcorn. So you know the drill already, and I'll see you at the end of this row. I got at the end of this row and I'm ending it with a single crochet into the last stitch of the previous row. And from now on, this edge, like here, and this edge here will be worked straight. We're not decreasing anything anymore. So chain 4, turn your work, double crochet into the first space, and we have our first cell of the next row, and continue in pattern till the end of this row. So here it is, the last row of this pattern repeat. Now work this pattern repeat from this line to next line. Okay, work the pattern repeat one more time. Just make sure your edges are straight. No decreases, no increases, just straight for next 6 rows. My pattern repeat with straight edges is done. And what we need to do next is to work for the shoulders and round in the center. For the next stitch pattern repeat, as usual, we need to work 1 more row of filet crochet. That would be our first row of the next pattern repeat. So let's crochet that all the way to the other side. I'm almost at the end of my filet crochet row, and like before, here we need to make sure that we don't skip this cell because there is one here. So working the last cell, I'm gonna skip this chain and double crochet into the 3rd chain of this double crochet, and there I have my stitch pattern done correctly. Now I'm gonna turn with a chain 1 and turn. Now, since my popcorn is here and I need to make it here, I'm gonna start with a single crochet into the first stitch of this row. Chain 3. Yeah, before we continue, mark 16 cells from this edge. That would be 4 stitch pattern repeats or 4 popcorns. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, this would give me the 16 cells in this point here. Do the same for the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4 here, marking these stitches, and then we can continue with our stitch pattern. So I have chained 3, and now I have to work the cluster. So we skip 2 cells and we work the 3 double crochet cluster. Chain 3, single crochet into the next stitch after the 2 skipped cells. Well, you should already know the stitch pattern. We do exactly the way we did for the back when we rounded up for the shoulders. Nothing new here. So if you remember that, you can just keep going on, and I don't know if you should skip this part or not, but I suggest watching either way. And then this is my 3rd cluster already. Chain 3, skip 2 cells, single crochet into the double crochet immediately following these skipped cells. Here, as usual, I need to end up on top of the cluster, so what we're gonna do, chain 3, we work our cluster the way we're supposed to. And to finish this row, we're gonna work an elongated double crochet. So why I choose to work an elongated double crochet and not a treble? Because I'm supposed to have here a single crochet first and then a chain 3. That's why it's elongated. So this thing goes for the single crochet first, and then you work your double crochet as usual, and there you have the result. All right, chain 1 and turn the work. Here we're gonna work a single crochet into the cluster and a single crochet into the space, and then according to the stitch pattern we continue with chain 6 and single crochet into the next space before the cluster and single crochet into the next space after the cluster, and continue. So remember, this edge, you keep it straight. So here I am at the end of this chain 6 space row. Here I have, let's say, like half pattern repeat, half stitch pattern repeat. So I'm gonna work chain 3 and then a double crochet into the last stitch of the previous row. Chain 1, turn. Now we need to work our single crochets to cover the chain 6 spaces. So single crochet into the first stitch, that is our middle single crochet of the 7, and then 3 single crochets into this same space, chain 2 and continue with 7 single crochets onto each space. Chain 2, and then the last space here we have to cover only half of it with single crochets. So let's work 4 single crochets into the last space. 3, and this is my 4th, like this, and this is what we round up here. And then we chain 1, turn again, single crochet into the first single crochet, now chain 3, popcorn. The popcorns, it just so happened that for these rows, back and forth rows, is always worked when you are working a wrong side row. So we have to work it the way I showed you before. The hook goes in the first stitch from the right side to the wrong side. You grab your working loop, pull it through, and hello, our new popcorn. And then continue in pattern till the end of this row. I'm at the end of my popcorn row and ending it with a single crochet into the last stitch of the previous row. Chain 4, right away 4, and turn and start working your cells, filet crochet row. That's what I like to call it. I guess it simplifies my understanding of the stitch pattern, of remembering it somehow, because I always like to add my own things to the crochet names. So just like that, so we do not forget on top of the, oops, my camera is moving again. On top of the popcorns we work the front post double crochets. So I'm at my last stitch pattern repeat, and I'll just finish it here like that, and then I'll tell you what we need to do next for this shoulder. All right, so from now on we need to work 2 more times the stitch pattern repeat, these 6 rows 2 more times, but have on both sides straight edges, no more decreasing. All right, all my repeats are done. I just finished this last row of the last stitch pattern repeat, and it's time to join the shoulders. Remember this? I left it. Well, since I ended up here, I might go back and do a decorative stitch and end up at this corner. So look, that's the back and that's the front. I don't know how you want to join these. You might use whatever joining stitch you like. Maybe you sew it, maybe you use a yarn needle, or I don't know, maybe with the crochet hook, but I am going to work a decorative stitch with a crochet hook, and I'll be joining these two, and the stitch pattern doesn't really change. If you see, like if you have here 2 filet crochet rows that are together, at the shoulder seam they will be the same. So that's the nice thing about this pattern.